Hello, how y'all doing? I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about Peach McIntyre. It's horrible, y'all. And you know what? Excuse me, to tell the truth, you all probably know a whole lot more than I do. Okay? I don't want you all to think that I have some kind of obsession with Peach McIntyre. I have no obsession with her. I can only watch at the very most about 7 seconds of any of her videos. At the most. And that's like every other week, every 2 weeks. Sometimes I do go to other channels to see what's going on, what they have found out, but and they're a little more tame than her. They're not as horrible and gross and has a lack of decorum as Peach McIntyre. Even though they're talking about her, they're not as bad as her. So sometimes I do go to other people's channels to see what's going on, but it's just worse than I thought. And look, I have no stake in her life. I have no ownership in her life. I'm not even remotely from that state. I have nothing, okay? Nothing in her life. Okay, so this other channel says she went to the county clerk in office and pulled up all the stuff about Peach. She says, well, you can do it. So I did it. And I was shocked by what I found. I don't go around necessarily looking up a lot of people's private business. I don't necessarily do that. But the public information is out there. But I went to the clerk's office and I found some really shocking information. Running a red light, 2 or 3 occasions. I mean, even a 16-year-old knows not to run a red light. Even a 16-year-old. And there have been so many horrible accidents in the past because people have ran the red light. And this is driving with a suspended or revoked license. Now, who does that? You don't have a license. The court says your license is revoked, but you're driving anyway. Okay. Failure to appear, failure to comply. Can you all imagine Peach arguing with a cop? Okay, a cop with a gun and a taser on top of that. And look, the evictions, 2 or 3 evictions. Now, look, evictions is not even a word on my vocabulary because I've never been evicted for anything. I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. I always pay my rent ahead of time. If I had issues with the rent, I talk to the landlord. I pay tomorrow. I'm just going to get the money order today. I go get it tomorrow. Paid. But I've never been more than a day late. And that was only on one occasion. One occasion. Okay. With my rent. And that was because there were just issues and I was a day late. Okay. So being evicted is not even in my vocabulary. But see, I'm looking at 2 or 3 evictions on this sheet, on this spreadsheet. Back rent. How do you owe all these people back rent? Car repossession, 2 or 3 car repossession. See, that's not a word on my vocabulary either because I always pay my car note ahead of time. I paid it off ahead of time. I don't believe in dragging a car note for years. I paid ahead of time. So what phenomenal life? See, it's hypocritical to say, for her to tell us, this is how you can have a phenomenal life. When her life is shattered. The mess is a mess. Evictions. How do you get evicted from a Section 8 apartment and you're paying less than $200 a month for rent? How does it happen? That's ridiculous. You can make your rent on welfare. But how did she get evicted? And Wood obviously didn't help her. How in the world do you get evicted? And you Section 8 apartment. What could have been the other reasons for her evictions? She said she didn't clean, so she had roaches. Maybe that was another reason for her eviction. Roaches, y'all. Okay. Now, look, this is the issue. Peach cannot drive. She cannot drive, okay? Running a red light, you can't cotton pick and drive. Driving without insurance. Okay. How do a 16-year-old knows they have to have insurance when they go out there on the road? A 16-year-old knows that. How in the world evictions? How in the world do you get evicted at least twice for paying less than, and you only paying less than $200 a month for rent? How does that happen? So look, I always wondered, I have always wondered this for years. How does anybody become a career criminal? How do you go from simple shoplifting, stealing a piece of candy, to 5 to 15 years, 15 to 30 years? How do you go from it? Because you're a career criminal. Okay, first you steal a piece of candy, then you steal a CD player, and then, or CD, and nowadays you steal something from GameStop. How do you, 15, 20 years given sentence? I've always wondered, how does anybody progress from, stealing a piece of candy to 15 to 20 years in the pen? That's a career criminal. She's a career criminal. She's an evolutionary criminal. See, when criminals evolve from stealing a piece of candy to stealing the GameStop video, 15 to 20 years, 5 to 15 years, they are evolutionary criminals. In other words, this is how they evolved. First, they stole this. Look, what did they steal when they were 5 years old? That's why you got to correct children when they're young. When a child steals a piece of candy or some macaroni and cheese from a relative, a macaroni and cheese cup, you got to correct them right there. You got to tell them to put it back and make amends. You got to get that stealing out of them. Okay? That's a stronghold. But Peach is an evolutionary. She's a career criminal, that's for sure. All you got to do is look at the raps. All you got to do is look at that sheet at the clerk's office. She's a career criminal for sure. And now I'm hearing that in order to live in the house that she's lived in, she gave the landlord a fake identification, a fake Social Security number. That is a federal crime. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets 5 to 15 for that, using the fake Social Security number. And she thought she could get away with it. She thought the landlord was too stupid to notice. She's an evolutionary criminal. She's evolving into criminality. And she's a career criminal. Just look at her. Look. Just look from the clerk's office. She's a career criminal. And she's evolving into a bigger and bigger criminal. I never would have thought that, giving a fake Social Security number to a landlord. I never would have thought of doing something like that. If I can't get a rental based on my own income, then something, I got issues. Now, look, she makes enough money to pay cash for a house. Why has she done that? Just pay cash for a simple house. She makes enough money to do that. Just pay cash for it. Let's see, look, I know she's a pathological liar. I know that she's a pathological liar, but I never thought she'd be a pathological liar in the real world. In other words, lying to police, lying to the court, lying to landlords. I get it. She's a pathological liar when she talks to YouTube, because we're just ordinary people, right? But I never thought she was a pathological liar talking to people in authority, like cops, judges, the court, the landlords. That's a whole nother level of criminality. Now, look, she may get 5 to 10 for giving the landlord a fake Social Security number. But look, she's going to have to be happy eating beans and rice. Look, I grew up on beans and rice. Maybe not even that. And she'll learn to like them. I still eat rice, and I eat lentil beans. I don't eat the other beans, but I eat lentils. She'll learn to like them. Okay? But look, she don't cook. She says she doesn't. Like, that's obvious because she feeds the kids slop. She don't clean. That's obvious too. It's very obvious. So maybe one of those evictions because she didn't clean up and here come the roaches. And I'm telling you, we've never been evicted. Well, I was never evicted when I was young. I never was evicted when I was old. That's just not something on my vocabulary. So why was she evicted? Not payment of rent or roaches? Because look, how in the world do you get an eviction if you're only paying $200 a month from Section 8? How in the world do you not pay that? It's horrible, y'all. Bye.